So now we're going to look at how to draw a scatter graph. Okay, so draw a scatter graph for this data on sales of ice cream. So we've got temperature in degrees C and ice cream sales. Okay, and what this is there's, I don't know, 8 kind of days here that we've picked at random. And on day 1, it was 3 degrees C and we sold 2 ice creams. Day 2, it was 7 degrees C and we sold 5 ice creams. Day 3, 11 degrees C and we sold 7 ice creams. And this looks like it's kind of 8 days picked throughout the year, okay? So what we want to do is plot points for all of these and see if we can find a link between them, see if there's a pattern emerging, okay? Now I'm going to plot the temperature on the x-axis, that's side to side, and the ice cream on the y-axis, okay? Because I would expect, okay, that as the temperature changes, that's going to affect the ice cream sales, okay? We would say that like temperature is the independent variable, like you can't control the temperature, and then the ice cream sales, that kind of is a bit more controlled, okay? It's almost like cause and effect, okay, roughly. Okay, so the temperature is the cause, like when it's hot, you would expect the effect to be people buying more ice creams, okay? So that's how we decide whether to put, which one to put on the x and y axis, okay? Now, what we're going to look at is what's the smallest number and what's the biggest number. So I kind of know what to do for my scale. Well, the smallest is 3, okay, and the biggest is 20. So I might want to have a scale that's going up in like 2s, because see, for the x-axis, the biggest number is 10, okay? So I'm going to have my x-axis scale going up in 2s and my y-axis scale just going up in 1s, 1 to 10. I've got loads of room here. I'm going to allow 2 boxes probably for every number, okay? So I'm just going to pick a place to start down, kind of bottom left, giving myself lots of room, and that's going to be like my 0. And going along the way, with my temperature, I'm going to count up in 2 degrees C, so it's going to go like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Just going to put a little dot for each one, and now I'll write the numbers. So 2, 4, and I'm putting the numbers on the line. Okay, so that point there is the 6. Okay, it's not in the box. Okay, 16, 18, 20, and going up the way, my ice cream sales are going from 1 is the smallest up to 10. So I'm just going to go up in 1s and take 2 boxes for each one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and write in my numbers on the lines, not in the boxes. Okay, if it's exactly on a line, then that is accurate. And if it's floating in the middle of a box, that's inaccurate. Okay, and you would obviously use a ruler to draw in your axes, but I'm on a computer, so I'm going to use this straight line drawing tool. Okay, and just draw that in with my straight lines. Okay, now I need to label my axes. Okay, so here's my ice cream sales. And going across, this is my temperature. I'm just going to put temp, and remember and put your units in. Okay, a title, ice cream sales versus temp, something like that. Okay, now I'm going to plot in all my points. I've got everything set up, everything nice and neat, axes are labelled, been using a ruler, got my scale, 2 boxes exactly for every number. So let's go now. So temperature is 3, halfway between 2 and 4, and my ice cream sales are 2. So I'm going to pop them there. Okay, then the next one, my temperature is 7, halfway between 6 and 8, and I need to go up to 5 for my ice cream sales. Then the temperature is 11, so halfway between 10 and 12, and we've got 7 for the ice cream sales, 18 for my temperature, and what is that, 9? Let me just, oh, I'm kind of lost. I'm going to put a dot roughly where I think it is and then check it. Yeah, that lines up with 18. Oh, and it lines up with 9. That's all right. Okay, make sure you've got a rubber on hand so you can fix any mistakes. So 4 along for the temperature and 3 up for my ice cream sales for the next one. And then I've got 20 and 10. 20's there and all the way up to 10 at the top. Then I've got it's 3 degrees C, so again, halfway between 2 and 4 and only 1 sale. That's fine to have 2 like directly above each other, it doesn't really matter. And 17 degrees C, and that's 8 ice cream sales. That's going to be... Is that right? I think it might be there. Let me put a dot and then check it. Yeah, halfway between 16 and 18, and that's 8 sales. Okay, right, now that is us. In a scatter graph, you don't join them up like you would for a line graph. Okay, we just leave it at that. Now let's answer some questions. So it's saying, draw the line of best fit for a graph. Well, what is a line of best fit? Let me tell you. The line of, that says line of best fit, that's not a thing. Line of best fit. It's a straight line. You're not joining them all up like a zigzag, like a line graph. So it's just one straight line. Okay. Needs to go through as many points as possible. Right, PTS for points, as pos for possible. Okay, and it should have, where possible, the same number of points above it as below it. Okay, so maybe I'd like to have 2 points above the line, 2 points below the line. If it's possible, maybe I'd need to have, if I've got an odd number of points, maybe I'd have 2 above and 3 below. Okay, kind of depends on the situation, but they should never be more than 1 apart. Okay, let's draw in this line now. Okay, now if you've got a ruler, it's kind of easy, especially if you've got a clear ruler, you can kind of wiggle it about until you get something that's going to fit. So let's put that there, and then see if we can wiggle it and make more fit. Okay, obviously you can't do this on a piece of paper, but you just need to wiggle your ruler about. Now let's have a look at that. So that's kind of going through 1, 2, 3 points there. I've got 1, 2 below and 1, 2, 3 above. Now because of that odd number of points, I'm not going to be able to make it any better than that. Okay, so that's fine, that's us done for the line of best fit. Now describe the correlation. Now a correlation is like a link, and this has what's called a positive correlation. Okay, if you've ever done gradient, then you can see that the line of best fit has a positive gradient. Okay, but if you haven't, what it means is, see here, when the temperature is small, my sales are small. And when the temperature is big, my sales are big. Okay, so as you're getting bigger and bigger numbers on the X, you're getting bigger and bigger numbers going up the Y axis. Okay, you can also have negative correlation. Okay, so if we looked at something, I'm just making this up roughly. As you can see, if I had temperature here, and instead of ice cream sales, I had like big woolly jumper sales. Okay, now when the temperature is low, I would expect to be selling lots of big woolly jumpers. Okay, and as it gets hotter and hotter, you're going to be selling fewer and fewer big woolly jumpers. Okay, so this, your line of best fit would be something like that, going through the middle. Okay, obviously drawn with a ruler. This is very messy. Oh, and you need to have degrees C in there or something, and a title, jumper sales. Okay, but you can see the point is, I've got big sales when the temperature is small, and I've got small sales when the temperature is big. It's like the opposite. That's a negative correlation. Okay, and sometimes there's no correlation. Okay, so if you look at like two things that are totally unrelated. So like your house number or flat number, if you took that and, I don't know, your IQ, okay? Not that, I mean, IQ is a bit of a dodgy measure anyway, but your house number has nothing to do with how clever you are, okay? So you'd expect to see just points all over the place. You know, there's maybe very intelligent people in high house numbers and very intelligent people in low house numbers, and vice versa. There's no link at all between what your house number is and what your IQ is. That is called no correlation, okay? It's just a mess. Okay, so positive correlation is when you've got small and small together and big numbers matching up. Negative correlation is the opposite, so you've got big numbers on one axis when these numbers are small on the other axis, and when you've got big numbers on that axis, it's small on the other, okay? No correlation is something like, do you know, there's maybe no correlation between how good you are at art and how good you are at football, okay? You might be no link there at all. Okay, let's go back to our properly drawn ice cream sales chart. So we're going to use this line of best fit now, and we're going to estimate the ice cream sales on a day when it's 15 degrees C. Okay, so I have a look at 15 degrees C, and there it is. Okay, now I'm just going to work my way up to the graph and read off the matching ice cream sales. Now that's 7.5. Okay. I'm going to round that, and it says estimate, so it doesn't matter if it's a bit off. I'm going to say 8 ice cream sales because 7.5 would round to that, and you can't have 7.5 ice cream sales. It doesn't work. Okay, and maybe they sold 7 and gave 1 away for free, I suppose. Okay, part D. I estimate the temperature on a day that 10 ice creams were sold. So this is the other way. So I'm looking at 10 ice cream sales. And I work my way across the line. Now don't go to the dot, go to the line. And it's about 20 degrees C. Okay, so not using the cross, use the line of best fit. Okay, and that was 20 degrees C. Okay, so you're using that line of best fit and just working side to side and up and down for the value that you're given. Okay, and that is how to do scatter graphs.